because I love how you talk about the purpose of the brain, right? Like we think that the purpose of the brain is to think, and maybe there are feelings involved in there, but it's really interesting because you talk about this a little bit, like it's more about survival. So this guessing that you're talking about is our survival as a social species, right? Like we're trying to guess because that's part of our survival as a social species. So anyway, take us back a little bit to tell us a little bit about that piece about the brain. And
sure. I think it's pretty common for scientists and non-scientists alike to assume that the brain is for whatever we value about ourselves. So as a species, we value our ability to be empathic. We value our ability to think, to plan, to reason. And so a lot of scientific investigation has been dedicated to the search for the sort of evolutionary principles that gave us the kind of brain we have, rooted in the kinds of things that we do that other animals don't do so well, like, reason and build civilizations and so on. The thing is that when you go all the way back to the beginning of time, before, when animals on this planet didn't have brains, as a general rule, right? No animals had brains at a certain point. Sometimes it feels now like animals don't know. Some of our human animals don't have brains. But there was actually a time when the world was ruled by animals who didn't have brains. And what we can learn from that, and also learn from the anatomy of the brain and its connections, is that your brain's most important job isn't thinking. It's not feeling. It's not even seeing. Your brain's most important job is to regulate the systems of your body to keep you alive and well. And everything it does, thinking, feeling, seeing, it's doing in the service of keeping your body alive and well, of integrating and having coordination between the systems of your body. Now, we don't experience every hug we get or every insult we bear, every feeling we have. We don't experience ourselves that way, but that actually is what's going on under the hood. We can't really say why brains evolved, and it's probably the case that brains evolved for probably more than one reason, but we can say that the brain's most important job is to keep you alive and to keep you well, and, so that you can pass your genes on to the next generation. And then help that generation survive to reproductive age. Mm-hmm. But all the things that we do that are unique and wonderful, we do in the service of that ultimate goal. And the feelings that we have are very tied to this regulation in ways that most people are not aware of. And when they become aware of it, it really changes their way of being in the world. So your brain is regulating the systems of your body. And the way to describe this, the way I describe it, is that your brain is running a budget for your body. So you've got all these moving parts inside your body that you're largely unaware of, but they all have to be coordinated with each other in order for you to survive and live, and maybe even thrive. And so your brain is budgeting. It's not budgeting money, but it's budgeting glucose and salt and water and oxygen and all of the resources that are necessary to keep you alive and well. And your brain is doing this largely. Your brain doesn't make itself aware. So you are not aware of most of this budgeting as it goes on. In fact, as you and I are chatting here right now, there's a whole drama going on in each of us. Actually, as our listeners are listening to this, each one of them has a whole drama going on inside, their own bodies that they're largely unaware of, because we're not really wired to feel every tug of a lung and every, gush of blood and every change in temperature. If we were, aware, we would never pay attention to anything outside our own skin ever again. Because there's like a lot of drama going on inside there. And I mean, just remember, for example, I don't know if this, I'm sure this must have happened to you if you have kids, where the first time, you know, a fetus kicks you somewhere inside your body, like hits some organ or something. And it's like the weird, you're like, what is that? Like, I don't even know what was that feeling? I'm not even sure. And it's because you don't normally, you don't normally sense things, and it's vague, and you can't really, you know, even for something like appendicitis, you have sort of a dull ache in your whole abdomen. You don't get the pinpoint pain right on top of the appendix until right before it's about to burst. So there's just a kind of vagueness there. That's how we're wired. But evolution has provided us with kind of a workaround so that we generally know, is our body budget in the red or is it solvent? Like, are things generally okay, or is there a problem? And not a problem, but like, are we running a deficit?
Yeah, like, and do you need more resources somewhere? Yeah,
exactly. And so that is mood, or what scientists like me call affect. Now, affect or mood is not emotion. It's a consequence of body budgeting. Your brain is always budgeting for your body your whole life, from the moment that you're born until the moment that you die. And you are always experiencing that body budgeting as mood. So mood is a property of being conscious. And sometimes our brain conjures out of that an emotion. Because when you feel unpleasant, what does that tell you about what's wrong? Doesn't tell you what's wrong. Doesn't tell you what you should do about what's wrong. There's no map there. There's no real information other than, oh, there's a body budgeting deficit. So what do you do? If you think about it, when you have a tug in your chest or you feel distressed, you know, is that anxiety? Is it hunger? Is there a physical problem? Like, you know, for example, the tug this tightness that people feel in their chest right before they have a heart attack is exactly the same tightness that you feel with indigestion. And it's exactly the same tightness that you feel with anxiety. It's not that the person can't tell the difference. It's that there really is you can't detect a difference. It really feels the same to you because we just don't have the same amount of precision with sensing the body as we do with seeing and hearing and touch, for example. Mm-hmm. So, and this is really how your brain works. Every waking moment, actually your whole life, right? Your brain is stuck in a dark, silent box called your skull, and it's receiving sense data from your body and from the world. And what it's receiving are the outcomes of something that happened, but it doesn't know the cause. So when your brain receives, you know, a loud bang, well, what caused it? You need to know what caused it in order to know what to do about it. Did a door slam? Did somebody drop a box? Did a car backfire? Is it thunder? Is it a gunshot? Like, what is it, right? But your brain doesn't know. Your brain only knows the outcome. It doesn't know the cause. Similarly, when you have a tug in your chest, what is it? What caused it? You know, your brain doesn't know. It has to guess because it only has access to the outcomes, not the causes. And this is called a reverse inference problem. And this reverse inference problem is the problem that your brain has to solve in order to keep you alive and well. And so your brain has one other source of information, and that is it has past experience. What the learning that has wired itself into your brain during development and throughout your whole life. So your brain can, figuratively speaking, ask itself, well, the last time I was in this situation and my body was in this state, what caused these sensations and what did I do about it? So your brain is actually asking a question about similarity or equivalence. It's saying the last time I was in this physical state, in this kind of a situation, the last time something similar happened, what did I do next? What did I see next? What did I hear next? Like, what happened next? What was the cause of these sensations? So your brain is constructing a category essentially from your past experience, because in psychology, things which are similar to each other are called a category. And mental representation of a category is a concept. So basically, your brain is taking past experience and combining it in all kinds of ways to create a concept or a category in the moment to make sense of that tug in your chest and any other sense data that you are receiving in order to guide your action. And when your brain uses past experiences of emotion, then it's constructing an emotion.
Catch new episodes of the Mindful Mama podcast and other free resources, including the Mindful Mom Guide at mindfulmamamentor.com. You can listen to every back catalog episode, including interviews with Dr. Dan Siegel, Ianla Van Zandt, Sharon Salzberg, and get meditations, join our private Facebook group, and more. Go to mindfulmamamentor.com now. I'll see you there.